Hey guys, Dave here, and it's time for another video. And if you notice today, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm recording from my webcam as compared to recording from my normal camera, because I want to talk about the camera that I would normally record video with today. And if you've seen the title already, you already know what that is why I switched from Nikon to Sony. Now, this was a big deal for me. Switching camera systems is not an easy decision. I've been a Nikon shooter for years now. I started off with my Nikon D60, then I went to a D200, then to a D7000, then to a D700, and then finally to the D800, which I just got rid of. And that's a big, huge decision to make a complete switch from one system to the other. But I'm going to explain why I did that in this video. And I've seen a lot of pros switching to Sony gear. Jason Lanier was a big one. He's now one of the Sony Artisans of Imagery. Frank Dorhoff, which is a big, huge, well-known model and studio photographer, he switched. Matt Granger, he still shoots both systems, but I have a feeling he's eventually going to switch over to Sony. And plus a lot of other local pros that I fully respect have switched over. So I said I might as well give this a shot and see what I like about it. So there was a PPNC, or Professional Photographers in North Carolina, annual trade show at the hotel right down the street from my house, and I was over there. And Southeastern Camera, which is our local camera store, had a big booth there, and they had a couple of Sony cameras there for a demo. So I decided to pick it up and give it a shot. So again, this camera is what I got. This is the Sony A7 Mark II. It's 24 megapixel full frame, and this is what I played with at the show. And I decided then I got to rent it, and then I eventually bought it. So here are a couple of the reasons. First of all is the weight. This thing is light as anything. You don't have that big mirror that has to flop up and down all the time, so that saves a lot of weight. This, with the battery grip that I have on it and the 28-70 lens on here, weighs about the same as just the body on my D800. So for me, who has bad back and carrying around a whole lot of gear all the time, then this makes it a lot easier on me. Next favorite feature of mine is focus peaking and electronic viewfinder. So with the normal camera, you have an optical viewfinder, so you're looking through the camera and you're going to see basically what your eye sees. With the electronic viewfinders, you're going to see exactly how your picture is going to be before you take it. So if you're shooting a real wide open depth of field, shooting a say 1.4, you know what your bokeh is going to look like. You know exactly what's going to be in focus and what's not. And that's a huge plus, because before you have to take a shot, look at it, all right, did I get this right? Do I make adjustments? And so on and so forth. With this, you get exactly what you see, exactly what you're going to get before you take the picture, and I love that. Focus peaking is another great feature, is that anything that's going to be in tack sharp focus is going to glow a certain color. For me, I have it set to red, and that always helps you get your critical focus tack sharp. And if you're shooting manual focus, like I do quite a bit with manual focus lenses, you can zoom in on that focal point when you test the focus ring and really know that it's in sharp, because between the focus peaking and zooming in on it, it really makes a huge difference. And I did a shot with my 85-1.4, which is this lens here. This is the Ronkinon. It's manual focus lens, but they're extremely sharp. I love Ronkinon glass. And I decided to do a whole shoot at 1.4. I wasn't going to take it off because the depth of field is very shallow. It's minuscule at 1.4. And shooting models, you know, the main thing, you have to get the eyes tack sharp. That's the biggest thing. If the eyes aren't tack sharp, you throw the picture away, basically. So I said, as a test, I'm going to shoot this wide open all day, and using focus peaking with the zoom in feature, I got 90% of my shots were tack sharp, and I don't think I was able to do that with my D800. Either the focus would be off, it'd be on the nose, it'd be on the eyelashes, eyebrows, just something close, but it wouldn't be, the eyes might not be tack sharp. And I couldn't believe how many shots I got tack sharp using electronic viewfinder and focus speaking. And also, which is nice, is I don't have to have the camera up to my eye anymore when I shoot, because we're using the live view feature on the back of the camera and the articulating LCD screen. I could just hold the camera away from me and get the shot that I want, so it's not having just to be where my eye is. If I want to hold it far above me, down well below me, I put it on the ground, I can flip the screen up, and there you go, and you can see. So the only drawback is I wish this had a fully articulating screen. That would make it even better, but still, this is a quite good feature. So another great feature of this is the built-in 5-axis image stabilization in the camera. So if you know, most lenses that you buy, you're going to spend extra money for image stabilized lenses. With this, it's in the body, so I don't have to worry. Whatever lens I put on here is going to be image stabilized, and that's a huge factor. And you can get up to 4 extra stops with the image stabilization, depending on the focal length you put on here. So shooting handheld, that's a huge deal. And that brings me to my next point, is with an adapter you can put any piece of glass on here you want. So you can put all your Nikon glass, you can put your Canon glass on here, you can put Leica glass on here, Minolta. So all they do is make an adapters, which aren't too expensive. The one I bought for my Nikon glass was $16. I don't have autofocus through it. That's the only drawback, but they're working on an adapter. The MetaBones adapter for Canon will allow you to do autofocus through it. It's $99, so I'm waiting for the Canon one to come, the Nikon one to come out, sorry. And when that comes out, I will purchase that as well. But I am going to slowly, as Sony's now coming out with more and more lenses, I'll eventually switch over to some Sony glass, but for right now I will keep shooting some of my old Nikon glass, which is still very sharp. It's manual focus, but I don't mind shooting manual focus for most situations that I'm in. So drawbacks to this camera, there are a few. Number one is battery life. This thing does eat through batteries quite quickly. With my Nikon D800, I was able to shoot 700-800 shots on a battery, if not more. With the Sony camera, I maybe get about 300 to 350, and that's because it's got the image stabilization, the electronic viewfinder, the live view on the back of the camera. So it's got a lot more going on, and obviously since it's a smaller camera, it's a smaller milliamp battery in there, so it cannot have the life of the DSLR batteries like my Nikon batteries, which is basically twice the size. On the flip side, though, the batteries are a lot cheaper, so I only pay half of what I would pay for a Nikon battery or a Canon battery. I buy the Sony, so I can buy 2 cameras for basically the price of one. And with the battery grip on here, like I can have 2 batteries in the camera as one and extend my shooting time. I did recently read an article that someone said if you turn off the airplane mode on the camera, which turns in the built-in Wi-Fi and NFC on it, you can almost double your shooting time on a battery and get 800 to 1,000 shots on a battery, which I am going to test, and I'll report back on that later. The other drawback is the menu system, and a lot of people are complaining about this, and they still do complain that the menu system could be a lot better laid out. And I figured, as with any new camera system, it's going to just take a little getting used to. And I found out that you can customize a lot of the buttons on here. There's 4 main customizable buttons on the camera, plus all the other function buttons you can pretty much set to exactly the way you want. So I have a button set for my white balance. I have another button set for my ISO. I have another button set for my focus mode. And where I can either change the focus point around or the metering mode, and that's another button I have. So it's pretty customizable. Once you get it to the way that you want to get it and how you like to shoot, then you won't have to really go into the menu system too much to change anything. So now I know, without even looking at the camera, I know I can hit one button, I can change my ISO, another button I can change my white balance. So once you get to that point, it took me a couple of weeks to start really getting used to the camera, but once you get to that point, it's not too bad. I do hope in further firmware updates they improve the menu system. That would be nice. I think there's a lot that they can do. The other drawback is the RAW files. So with Nikon and Canon, you get 14-bit RAW files. Right now, we are currently have 11-bit RAW. Which is not a huge difference, but they did announce with the newer cameras, the A7R2 and the A7S Mark II are going to have 14-bit RAW files, and then they're going to release firmware updates for the other models that will give us that capability as well. So I know down the line that I will have 14-bit RAW files as well. So they're in the process of fixing that. Lens selection, they don't have a huge selection of lenses right now, but they did announce they are going to release quite a few more lenses in the upcoming year, but still the ability that I could just buy an adapter and mount any other glass I want on there and have image stabilization is a huge factor for me. So I don't have to completely switch out all my lenses at once, and I keep some of my really fast glass that I had for my Nikon and just shoot on my Sony. So that's basically it. I'm just excited and happy as hell that I switched to this camera. And one more point I want to bring up. And when I first decided to switch and I announced it on some the forums on Facebook and everything, I got a lot of hate. And that was because I think a lot of people think, oh, if you don't have a big pro DSLR body hanging off you, you're not a pro anymore. And I probably thought that too, and back, a while back, I was a gearhead, I was like, gotta have the best and best gear, and I still kind of do, but I think everybody's got to stop worrying about the image of what camera you have hanging off you, and besides what you do with that camera. So me switching to a smaller system, I'm happy as hell. I don't think anybody's going to think of me any different once I show them the images that I create out of it. And I don't have to have that huge, heavy camera hanging off me. So I just wanted to bring that up. I think a lot of people got to get over their image of what people perceive they look like with a smaller camera hanging off them than a big, huge camera. And once they realize the images are just as good, maybe they'll try it and switch like I did. So that's it. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are you a Sony shooter? Do you shoot the other systems like Fuji, Mirrorless? I'd like to know your thoughts on it. Have you thought about switching? Have you tried these cameras out? And let me know your thoughts. Give this video a like if you haven't done so already. It really does mean a lot to me. And then subscribe as well to my channel. I will be putting out a lot more videos coming up soon, a lot more in my Project Film series, and I'm also going to do a video on this, which I just picked up. This is the Nissan DI-700A flash kit set for the Sony cameras. I've heard a lot of great things about this for the price point. It's got the air commander and the flash unit for $300, and I can control up to 16 flashes with this. So it also does TTL and high-speed sync as well. So I'm going to be looking forward to trying this out and giving it a review. So that'll be an upcoming video as well. So thank you all again, and I'll see you all in the next video.